guys, and welcome back to the channel. So CDs and USB sticks are kind of a thing of the past now. Everything's moved to Bluetooth technology, and that's what I want for this car. I want to be able to stream off of my phone and take phone calls and that kind of stuff. So today we'll be putting in a more modern stereo into the vehicle. However, I am looking for a vintage, basically OEM deck for the car because if I ever wanted to return to a stock look, I want to be able to. So I'm still on the lookout for one of those. But today we're going to be putting in a Kenwood deck, this one right here, to replace my old Pioneer deck. This one has basically call features as well as Bluetooth streaming, all that kind of stuff. So I think this is going to be a cool, good addition to the car. As well, I got myself another lower console, which is optional, obviously, and we're going to be swapping the optional one that's in my car right now for this one, because this one is actually OEM black, hasn't been painted or anything, and is in really good condition. Had a few scuffs on it, but I fixed it up with a heat gun. I didn't obviously make a video about that, but now it's pretty much in like mint condition. So we're going to be putting this as well. So let's get to work. Alright guys, so first step is basically to remove all this stuff again. Since this shifter is kind of different from the OEM, I'm going to have to remove all this shifter stuff before I can get access to the whole console. Alright, next, obviously there's 6 screws that you need to take off. 2 on the top here, 2 on the sides here, and 2 on the bottom here. Alright, now this should be loose, and we should be able to just pull this out. So let's take. So it's clipped on basically with the 2 dimples down here, so you just pull open a little bit and lift. There we go. And then the back, there's a plug, obviously, just unplug it. So what we are going to do is we're going to be swapping all the components from this to this one. This one's actually got the lights and everything, while the new one doesn't. So let's just do that right now so that I have a complete console. Alright, let's take the personal box out, set that aside. Now, same thing, basically 2 screws on here, and then basically the bottom comes out. But before I do that, I guess I'm going to pop all these little bits off. There we go, everything's swapped over. That's done. Put this back. Looks good. Alright, so with the console and everything else out, we've got 2 screws here just to remove the deck. And you just pull out. And on the back there should be a harness for us to disconnect. And obviously the cable as well for the radio. Good. And harness is disconnected. So deck comes out like that. One thing that I'm going to be doing is I am going to try and remake this cover piece that goes here, because I guess one of the little pieces are kind of broken on it. So I'm going to be taking this off and I'm going to 3D design a new bezel piece so that I can 3D print it, because I do have a 3D printer. And obviously I'm going to be retaining this connector just to connect the new deck. You do not want to cut your original harness because you don't want to muck up the harness connector. This way you can still plug in an OEM deck if you ever had to. But this is the connector we'll need. So I'm going to have to snip all this so that I could butt connect the new ones in there. Alright, there you go. Dex comes out, and this is the piece that I'm basically going to be trying to 3D design. So before I continue with this, I'm going to 3D design this first so that I actually have a template for it, and then I can basically reuse this and put it back. reason why I'm replacing it is because it looks like somebody tried to steal this at one point in time. There's cracks on it, so you know it's not easy to find another one, or at least not cheap. So I just rather 3D print one myself. All right, guys, so we're resuming the install today because I finally finished printing the 3D printed piece. As mentioned in the previous video, this was printed out in like 5 pieces and glued together with ABS glue. As you can see, the shiny parts there. It doesn't look pretty with the glued parts, but overall, the front part like this, it looks pretty much identical. This is the original. This is the 3D printed one. So we'll be installing this one. It's quite sturdy. I've already tested it on the deck, but we'll be putting it in today. So we're going to start by basically wiring up the wire harness. So this is the wire harness from the car. This is the Pioneer part. So this is what you need to get to wire to any deck. So that way it's plug and play. You don't have to muck up your own harness. So I'm basically going to snip all these and then we're going to wire it to this new harness. For the most part, all the wire colors kind of match up to the aftermarket connector colors. So all you do is just basically match them all up, butt connect them, and then plug it into the car and the deck is basically wired up. It's that easy for these kind of wire harnesses, the radio harness connectors. So I'm just going to do that real quick. You don't want to see me basically stripping wires and butt connecting them. So we're going to do that and then we'll come back to it afterwards. All right, so the harness is all butt connected up. Just tape up all the wires that aren't being used. This orange wire is for like the dimmer. This deck doesn't have like a dimming option, so it's taped up. This is your remote wire that's left. If you're operating an amp for your subwoofers or something, this will probably be the one that you're connecting. So I'm not using that as well, so tape that up. These are optional wires for the deck, like antenna control and all that kind of stuff. So that's just left like this because, you know, it says they don't unravel if you're not going to use it. So I'm not going to use it. All these are butt connected. As you know, with cheap butt connectors or even butt connectors in general, as you crimp them, they sometimes expose the metal, and then that could easily, like, you know, short out your car and stuff like that. So I added a bit of electrical tape just to insulate it, so I'll cover up anything that might short. So now I'm just gonna basically zip tie it all together so that it's nice and neat, and we're gonna put this in the car. All right, now we're gonna basically be putting the radio bracket onto the deck before we kind of install it. So let's unbox this. So it comes with these little things that basically take the metal bracket off, but I think it should be okay for now. We don't have to use it. It only when we have to remove the deck. Oh, nice and fancy and shiny. So just careful, you don't want to be messing this up. So let's pop the plate off. So I don't want to scratch that up. So this bracket just basically lifts up. You switch it around and it's going to lock in on these tabs. There you go. You can hear it. It locked in. The tabs are locked. So this is not going to go anywhere. So that's what these are for. It's basically to release this if you've ever have to. So now we're going to be basically putting the radio bracket that I made on. So this is the radio bracket. So all you're really going to do is make sure that it is the right side up, facing the upwards. And then you're going to slip this in here. And you're going to click it in with all these little tabs. You could lift more tabs just to secure it more, but I think the few tabs on here that are already raised up is enough. So I'm just going to click that in. All right, so that's the new radio bracket that I made. As you can see, it fits perfectly on here. And then when you put the faceplate on, that's how it's going to look. So let's go ahead and install this in the car. Obviously, we're doing this in reverse order, just 2 screws. And then we're gonna plug in the harness and stuff and see how it goes. Here's the mic holders, guys. So this came with the Kenwood deck. This is the one that I 3D designed. I put some, I guess, fabric tape on it just to protect it, because where I'm going to be putting it is on the cluster, and that's going to be clipped onto the plastic, so I don't want to scratch anything up. But yeah, this is the 3D design one. This is just to give you guys a perspective of how much smaller I made it. And it works fine, holds the mic perfectly good, and you know, much more hidden instead of this big lumpy thing. Alright guys, so with the mic holder, this is basically where I'm going to be installing it, like right here. So as you can see, it just clips right on and holds right there. And the mic will be there, and you know, as if I'm talking on the phone with somebody, they can hear me perfectly clear with the mic here. I'll clip the mic on just to show you guys, but we have to remove this cluster cover just to put this in because we're going to run the wire in there. All right, so here's the mic put in there just as a mock-up for the time being. As you can see, it fits perfectly well here, and with it facing this way, it will receive all the sound properly, so people that are calling me and stuff can definitely hear me properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this cluster cover now and basically run the wire inside so that it could be put in this area where the deck's supposed to go. All right, so if you guys don't already know how to remove your cluster cover, there's a couple little tabs on the back here. You pry them out with a flathead screwdriver, 2 Phillips screws over here, and a Phillips screw down here, and a Phillips screw over here. Then you would basically just pop the whole cover off, and you're good. So I'm just gonna do that, and we'll get back to it as soon as this is out. All right, so I've ran the wire in here, but you probably want to remove your cluster. It's kind of easier that way. There's a couple harness clips on each side, so one over here, and as well as your speedo cable. Just disconnect those 4 bolts, so 2 here and 2 here, and the cluster comes right out. And then you can just run your mic through here if you're going to follow the same method. So then I ran the wire all the way into the dash already. So now I can put everything back before I zip tie it all. Alright guys, so here's the new deck all installed. We're just going to test it out real quick right now, just to make sure that there is sound, and then maybe try to sync up Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to test it out, and we'll see. Whoa. There we go. So I'll just set this up, and then once it's ready, I'll just play some sound and we'll test it out. Alright guys, so it is currently paired up with my laptop right now so that we have some sort of, I guess, music or something to play. So I'm just going to play one of my videos just to test this out. Yep, as you can see, it is playing through the speakers. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be putting in some accessories. So it works. A little bit of maintenance work. All right, there you go, guys. We tested out the Bluetooth audio and everything. So this thing has Bluetooth and it works fine. And I've also tested out the phone call and stuff like that. I called my girlfriend and she called me back, and basically receiving a call is easy. Just push this button or any of the number buttons. I still have to go through the options to set everything up, but you know, since I keep disconnecting my battery during this winter time, it's pointless to set it all up because it's just gonna get reset afterwards. So here is the mic all nicely mounted, as you can see, with my nice little 3D printed holder. Yeah, now all that's left is basically put the center console back, and it's basically done. Anyways, guys, so that's basically how you add some modern technology to this car. We have hands-free calling, and we have Bluetooth audio now. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you haven't already, please comment, like, and subscribe, and share my videos. As always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.